Today's story, Adventures in the Forest of Shadows. We have also added this story to our playlist, where you can find all our channel stories at one place for your convenience. In the small, sleepy town of Elmsbrook, where nothing much ever seemed to happen, 16-year-old Alex Turner spent his summer days dreaming of grand adventures. The town was surrounded by dense forests and ancient hills, but the most thrilling thing Alex had encountered was a missing cat poster. His father, an avid historian, often regaled him with tales of the past, but none of them ever felt as exciting as the adventures Alex read about in books. One hot afternoon, while rummaging through the attic for a forgotten family heirloom, Alex stumbled upon an old wooden chest hidden behind stacks of dusty boxes. The chest, bound with iron clasps and engraved with cryptic symbols, seemed out of place amidst the clutter. With a mix of curiosity and excitement, Alex pried it open. Inside, he found a collection of old maps, yellowed with age, and a peculiar journal with a leather cover. The maps were marked with strange symbols and unfamiliar names, but one map, in particular, stood out. It was an old parchment with a rough sketch of the local area, but with added markings that didn't match any landmarks Alex knew. There was a large X drawn over a part of the forest that had always been off-limits to the townsfolk. As Alex studied the map, he heard the sound of footsteps behind him. It was Emma Sullivan, his best friend since childhood, who had come over to help clean the attic. Her eyes widened when she saw the maps and journal. "What did you find?" Emma asked, peering over Alex's shoulder. Alex showed her the intriguing map and journal. Emma, who had always been equally adventurous, immediately caught the excitement. Together, they began to decipher the symbols and notes in the journal, which hinted at a hidden treasure and an old legend about a forgotten explorer who had disappeared in the forest centuries ago. Determined to uncover the truth behind the map, Alex and Emma decided they would investigate the forest the next day. The adventure they had always yearned for was finally within reach, and they felt an electrifying mix of anticipation and apprehension. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge their courage and test their friendship. As evening fell and shadows grew longer, Alex and Emma made their plans. They knew they had to be prepared for whatever lay ahead. With a sense of both excitement and unease, they packed their bags with essentials, flashlights, a compass, snacks, and the mysterious map. The forest, with its secrets and untold stories, awaited them. The sun rose early the next morning, casting a golden hue over Elmsbrook as Alex and Emma set out on their adventure. They met at the edge of the forest, their backpacks slung over their shoulders, and excitement radiating from their faces. The forest loomed before them, a vast expanse of ancient trees and tangled underbrush that seemed to whisper secrets of its own. "Ready?" Alex asked, gripping the map tightly. "Born ready," Emma replied with a determined grin. The path leading into the forest was well trodden, but as they ventured deeper, the trees grew denser, and the trail became less defined. Alex consulted the map frequently, trying to match the landmarks with their surroundings. The forest seemed to close in around them, its canopy blocking out most of the sunlight and casting eerie shadows on the ground. As they walked, the air grew cooler and the sounds of the town faded away, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the occasional call of distant birds. Emma, ever the optimist, pointed out interesting plants and wildlife, trying to keep their spirits high. Alex, on the other hand, focused on the map and the cryptic notes in the journal, which described various landmarks they needed to find. Suddenly, they came across a small clearing with a large, ancient oak tree at its center. According to the map, this was the spot where they should start looking for the next clue. Alex and Emma carefully examined the area, noting a series of symbols etched into the tree's trunk. They matched these symbols to the ones on the map. Realizing they were on the right track, while Emma studied the symbols, Alex noticed something strange at the base of the tree, a partially buried wooden box. With a surge of excitement, they dug it out, revealing an ornate, but weathered, box covered in intricate carvings. The box was locked, but the journal mentioned a riddle that could be the key to opening it. They read the riddle aloud. In the heart of shadows, where light dares not tread, seek the answer where the ground meets the dead. Confused, they looked around the clearing. Emma noticed a large stone slab near the base of the tree, partially covered with moss. They moved the stone aside, uncovering a small, hidden compartment. Inside, they found a key that seemed to fit the lock on the ornate box. With bated breath, they unlocked the box, revealing its contents: a set of old, weathered tools, a leather-bound diary with faded writing, and a strange amulet with an embedded gemstone that seemed to glow faintly. Alex picked up the diary and began to read, deciphering the faded script. It spoke of an ancient order of explorers who had hidden their greatest treasure somewhere in the forest, protected by a series of trials designed to test their worthiness. The realization hit them: this was no ordinary treasure hunt. They were about to embark on a series of challenges that would test their intelligence, courage, and friendship. The amulet, the diary hinted, was a key to navigating these trials. As they prepared to continue their journey, Alex and Emma felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. They knew they were stepping into the unknown, but the thrill of discovery and the promise of adventure drove them forward. With the map, the diary, and the amulet in hand, they set off deeper into the forest, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The forest grew denser as Alex and Emma pressed on, following the cryptic directions from the diary and the mysterious amulet. The trees seemed to close in around them, and the once familiar sounds of the forest now felt alien and ominous. The air was thick with anticipation, and the shadows of the trees danced in the dim light. After several hours of trekking through thick underbrush and overgrown paths, they arrived at a rocky outcrop with a waterfall cascading down its face. The sound of rushing water was both soothing and unsettling, as if it were concealing hidden secrets. The diary had mentioned this waterfall. According to its notes, the first trial was hidden behind it. Alex and Emma exchanged a glance of determination before making their way to the base of the waterfall. The ground was slippery with moss and wet stones, and the roar of the water made conversation nearly impossible. "Are you sure about this?" Emma shouted over the noise. Alex nodded, holding up the diary. "It says we need to find the entrance behind the falls. The amulet should help us." With a deep breath, they braved the cold spray of the waterfall and stepped behind it. The water poured down with relentless force, but they managed to find a narrow, cave-like opening partially concealed by the cascade. Alex led the way into the darkness, flashlight in hand, with Emma following close behind. Inside the cave, the air was damp and cool. The walls were rough, and the floor was uneven, but they pressed on, guided by the faint glow of the amulet. As they ventured further in, they came across a large, stone door with an intricate carving of a labyrinth etched into its surface. The diary described a mechanism that would open the door, solving a puzzle that involved the labyrinth. Alex examined the carving closely. It depicted a winding maze with a single path leading to the center. The key was to trace the correct path, which, according to the diary, would unlock the door. Emma studied the diary's illustrations, which showed how to navigate the labyrinth by pressing certain symbols in the correct sequence. Together, they worked on solving the puzzle, pressing the symbols as indicated. The amulet's gemstone began to glow brighter as they got closer to the solution. After several tense moments, a deep rumbling sound echoed through the cave, and the stone door slowly creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber beyond. Inside the chamber, they found a room filled with ancient artifacts and strange relics. At the center was a pedestal with a golden box resting on it, intricately decorated with more of the cryptic symbols they had encountered earlier. The box was locked with a combination mechanism that seemed to require a specific sequence of actions. Emma's eyes widened as she noticed a series of inscriptions on the walls, each depicting a different trial. They had solved the first one, but the inscriptions hinted at more challenges to come. The golden box was their next hurdle, and they needed to decipher its mechanism to progress. With Alex reading the inscriptions and Emma carefully examining the box, they realized that the combination was based on a series of symbols that corresponded to their previous puzzle. They worked together to align the symbols correctly, and with a satisfying click, the box opened to reveal its contents. Inside the golden box were ancient scrolls and a beautifully crafted compass that seemed to be pointing in a specific direction. The scrolls contained more clues and information about the trials ahead, and the compass, according to the diary, would help guide them through the remaining challenges. As they gathered their findings and prepared to leave the chamber, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. The trials were far from over, but they had taken a significant step forward. With the compass and scrolls in hand, Alex and Emma set their sights on the next phase of their adventure, ready to face whatever came their way, with the golden box's contents in hand and their spirits high from the success of their first trial. Alex and Emma emerged from the cave and continued their journey through the forest. The compass given to them by the box was pointing steadily northeast, guiding them deeper into uncharted territory. The forest seemed to grow even more enigmatic as they ventured forward. The trees here were ancient and gnarled, their branches twisting into unusual shapes that seemed to form almost human-like figures. The air felt heavier, and the distant sounds of the forest seemed distorted, as if the woods themselves were whispering secrets. The scrolls from the golden box contained a new set of clues. They spoke of a place known as the Forest of Echoes, a mystical part of the forest where every sound was repeated, but only once. To find the next clue, they had to solve the riddle hidden in the echoes. As they trekked through the forest, they began to notice the peculiar nature of the sounds around them. Every rustle of leaves, snap of a twig, and call of a bird seemed to be repeated with a slight delay, creating an eerie, echoing effect. Emma held up the compass, which continued to point them forward. "We must be getting close," she said. "Let's stay alert." Soon, they arrived at a small clearing surrounded by unusually tall trees. At the center was a large, flat stone with a series of inscriptions carved into it. The inscriptions were in the same cryptic symbols they had seen before, but this time they included a series of echo-like waves etched into the stone. Alex and Emma examined the stone closely. The diary mentioned that to solve the riddle, they needed to understand the pattern of the echoes. The key was to make a specific sound that would be echoed back and reveal the hidden message. Emma suggested they use their voices. "Let's try calling out the words from the riddle and see if the echoes form a pattern." They took turns shouting phrases related to the riddle, "The heart of the forest," "Find the light," and "echoes of the past." Each time, the echoes returned with slight variations, forming incomplete words and phrases. It was clear they needed a specific sequence. As they continued experimenting, Alex suddenly realized that the echoes seemed to form complete phrases when they spoke slowly and clearly. They began to piece together the echoed messages, which directed them to a particular spot in the clearing. At the marked location, they found a small, hidden compartment under the stone. Inside was a beautifully crafted key and another scroll. This scroll contained a map of a new area within the forest, marked with a distinct symbol indicating a location they would need to find. With the key and the new map, Alex and Emma felt a sense of accomplishment. The compass pointed them in the direction shown on the new map, and they followed it with renewed determination. As night fell, they set up camp in a safe spot nearby. They reviewed the scroll and the map under the flickering light of their campfire. The new location they were heading to was marked by a large symbol resembling a crescent moon and a star. As they prepared to rest, Emma noticed something strange about the compass. It seemed to be spinning erratically. Alex, ever the problem solver, suggested it might be reacting to a hidden magnetic field or another challenge ahead. Despite the uncertainty, they knew they were getting closer to uncovering the treasure. The trials had been challenging, but their teamwork and perseverance had seen them through. As they settled in for the night, they couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension for what the next day would bring. Dawn broke with a gentle light filtering through the dense canopy of the forest. Alex and Emma woke early, their rest disturbed by the strange behavior of the compass. The promise of uncovering the final mystery kept their spirits high as they packed up their camp and followed the new map, which guided them to a location marked by the crescent moon and star symbol. The forest grew even more enchanting and otherworldly as they approached the new location. The trees here were adorned with luminous, bioluminescent fungi, casting an eerie yet beautiful glow. The compass, after a night of erratic spinning, finally settled on a steady direction, pointing them toward a large stone archway partially hidden by vines. As they approached the archway, the key they had found earlier seemed to resonate with a faint glow. Alex took it out and examined it closely. The archway had a lock that appeared to match the key perfectly. With a mix of excitement and nerves, he inserted the key and turned it. The lock clicked open, and the archway creaked as it swung inward, revealing a hidden passage. The passage led them down a winding staircase carved into the rock, illuminated by the soft glow of the fungi from above. At the bottom of the staircase, they emerged into a grand underground chamber. The chamber was vast, with a high ceiling supported by massive stone columns. In the center of the room was an ancient altar, on which rested an ornate chest covered in intricate carvings and a series of gemstones set into its surface. As Alex and Emma approached the chest, they noticed that the symbols on it matched those on the amulet they had found earlier. It was clear that this was the final trial. The chest itself was the last puzzle. The diary described this final challenge as one of perception and understanding. To open the chest, they had to align the gemstones in the correct pattern, which would reveal the mechanism for unlocking it. The gemstones were arranged in a pattern that resembled a star map, with each one representing a specific constellation. Emma recalled an old legend her grandmother had told her about a celestial alignment that occurred once every century. The pattern on the chest seemed to mimic this celestial event. They needed to align the gemstones to match the constellations from the legend. With a steady hand, Alex began to rotate and adjust the gemstones. Emma assisted, double-checking their alignment with the scroll's illustrations and their own knowledge of the constellations. After a tense few moments, they heard a soft click, and the chest's lid slowly opened. Inside the chest were several ancient artifacts, a beautifully crafted golden crown, a scepter adorned with precious stones, and a scroll bearing the final message of the forgotten explorer. The scroll detailed the true purpose of the treasure. It was not just gold or jewels, but a collection of artifacts meant to preserve the knowledge and history of an ancient civilization. The final note from the explorer revealed that the real treasure was the journey itself, the lessons learned, the courage discovered, and the friendship strengthened. Alex and Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment and wonder. They had embarked on a quest that tested their limits and had come out not just with treasure, but with an unforgettable experience. As they prepared to leave the underground chamber, they took one last look at the artifacts, understanding the weight of their discovery. They decided to leave the artifacts in place, ensuring that the legacy of the ancient civilization would remain protected and revered. Emerging from the forest as the sun set, Alex and Emma felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Their adventure had come to a close, but the memories and lessons would stay with them forever. They had not only found treasure, but had also discovered the true meaning of adventure. With a final glance at the forest, they made their way back to Elmsbrook, ready to share their story and cherish the bond they had strengthened through their journey. The forest's secrets had been revealed, and their hearts were filled with the magic of their incredible adventure. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. You are awesome.